Okay, here we are again. Yesterday I uploaded a video of my Vostok Komandirskie watches, but after I uploaded the video when I was at work last night, I thought about a few things. I thought about there was a couple of things I forgot to cover in that first video, so I'm going to cover them in this video. And also I was thinking about stuff I've read and videos I've seen on YouTube about people bashing Vostok watches, and I'm going to cover that in my opinion and all that kind of stuff. So here we are back again today. First thing I didn't cover is unscrewing the crown and winding the watch and setting the date. Now, when you unscrew the crown, it's not in a wind position. You have to kind of pull it, put a little bit of pressure on it, pull it a little bit. There we go. You got to keep putting pressure this way while you wind, but don't put too much pressure because then you'll pull it out in the time set mode. There we go. Now you can screw the crown back in. That's one thing I don't like about this watch is you have to keep pulling on the crown to wind it. I like watches that you can just wind it without having to put pressure on it. That's why one reason why I could probably would not be happy with one of these for a daily wear, because having to deal with that winding every day. Oh, another thing is I forgot to show you this a minute ago. When you unscrew the crown, I don't know. Let's see if I can get my fingers out of the way. See how it wobbles? Well, that's normal with all the Vostoks I know of. At least I don't know if it's all of them, but that's normal. I mean, it's not broken or anything. A lot of people don't like that, but I personally don't have a problem with it. And setting the date. To set the date on these watches, that no Russian watch I've ever seen has a quick date setting. Not even the kind of expensive Vostok Europes I have. On these Vostoks, you have to set the date. You gotta, when you're setting the time, you go up past midnight until you hear the date change. It'll click. Then you gotta roll it backwards and go back to about 7 o'clock. So go back about 5 hours, and then go up to midnight again. It'll change, and that's a big hassle for me. I don't like that. If you just got 2 or 3 days to go forward, it's not a big deal. But if I'm gonna have to set this thing up 20 or 25 days, usually I don't bother setting the date. Another reason I don't bother setting the date. Let me catch this phone call. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. See, that's what happens when you make a video and forget to put your phone on silent mode. Had to take that phone call. Okay, I was talking about the date. Yeah, one reason I don't even bother to set the date is because with my vision, I'm getting older and my close-up vision is not good. On most analog watches, I can't even see the date without reading glasses anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, not having a quick date setting is kind of annoying. Now I want to talk about the folks that bash this watch, the Komandirskies and really all Vostoks. They say they're junk. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. These Komandirskies are only about what, $40, 40 US dollars. Well, if you're expecting, expecting it to compete with a nice Swiss watch, if you're expecting perfection, if you're expecting to impress people with this watch, no, you're not going to like this watch. Don't even buy it. Don't even think about buying it, because they're not perfect. You know, they're not the most rugged. They're not the most accurate. They're not the best quality. So you're asking, why would you want to buy one of these watches if they're kind of lacking in different areas? Well, there are different reasons. some people like the history of the watch. Supposedly Vostok was the manufacturer that made watches for the Russian, or should I say Soviet Army. And that's not why I bought mine, but if that's your reason, that's a good reason. Another thing is, why would you buy a Vostok watch? Because the unique styling. I mean, think about it. You're out in the streets or at a concert or in the grocery store. You see people with watches. You're never going to see anybody with a Vostok watch on. I mean, if you do, it will be a very, very rare occasion. I mean, Timex doesn't make watches that look like these. Casio doesn't. Rolex doesn't. You know, all the Tag Heuer does not make watches that look like these. All the mainstream watches don't look like a Vostok. The styling is unique. That's why I like Vostoks and Russian watches in general, because they're a little different. They're not something like you're going to see on the wrist of the mainstream or the masses. Now another reason you might want to buy a Vostok, and I like this, is because you buy it just to tinker with it and modify it, and like of course you're going to want to get rid of that ugly crap leather strap that comes with it. That's the rule of owning a Vostok Komandirskie, is get rid of that strap, and either throw it away or hide it so nobody else can see it. No, really. But that's a real, like a rule of thumb on about 80% of watches I own. I always end up changing out the strap or bracelet. I always find something that I like better than what came on it. And also, these watches, the bezels are easy to change. I change out the bezel on this watch because I didn't really like the original. Then if you want to experiment with some more complicated modifications, like changing the dial or changing the hands, you never done that before and you're afraid that you're going to mess up a watch if you take it apart. I mean, you can experiment with one of these. They're really cheap. If you mess it up, it's not much of a loss. So that's another reason to buy a Vostok, just to tinker with it and modify it and not worry about if you break it while you're modifying it, because it's not much of a loss. There's not much cost involved. So hope I covered a lot in this video. Hope I helped somebody understand Vostok watches, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Oh, before I close out this video, I've got to add to it something I forgot. Is another reason you might want to collect Vostok watches is because with these Komandirskies and the amphibians, there's so many different case styles and dials. I mean, there's literally hundreds of configurations. I mean, hey, these watches are so cheap. You could buy 7 of them and have one for each day of the week. I mean, that's how it is with a lot of these lesser expensive watches that have a bunch of different designs available. There's a lot of people out there who tend to own a ton of them. Like, there's people who own a whole bunch of Casio G-Shocks. There's people that own a whole bunch of Invictas, and I'm sure there's people out there who own a bunch of these Vostoks with different dial and case combos and configurations. And so there's another reason you might want to start getting Vostoks, because they're so cheap. You can just own a whole bunch of them, and like I said, there's so many configurations available with the dials and cases. I mean, your collection could be never ending. Alright, I'm going to really shut it down now. See you later.